Hi guys and girls, and welcome to another episode of CSGO Solostrats, where I, the Brainiac, will teach you how to use your utilities to the maximum benefit of your team when you solo queue in matchmaking and are not able to work out any pre-made strats with your team. The idea is that when you use your utilities in the way that I'm going to show you, you will benefit your team greatly, keeping them alive for longer and thus increasing your chances of winning. Today we will go over Inferno bombsite B, the infamous killing box. So let's get into it. Okay guys, so first off I'm gonna show you the very basics. This is not the reason that I made a video, so if you already know this first part, keep on watching because I'm going to expand on it. But unless the very basic utilities are in place, you won't be able to safely use the advanced utilities. So I'm going to quickly cover them because maybe you are the only person in your whole team using utilities, or you need to quickly teach someone else to do the basics, so then you need to know this. Hopefully the basics will be covered by someone else in your team, as most people generally do the following. So if you are taking banana as a terrorist, the first power position that the CTs have is the barrels position, as this is a nice spot for an AWPer or any other CT to sit and shoot the fish in the barrel coming around that corner. So always the first important basic to do is to cancel out the barrels position, and the second basic that hopefully someone in your team will also cover is to smoke this connector going to CT spawn to prevent the rotating CTs from shooting you in the back. That's the very basics in taking bombsite B, and you'll most likely have teammates doing it. To molly barrels is very easy. Simply take out your molly and do a running throw against that back wall. There is no pixel perfect spot, and as you can see, even if I change my lineup a bit, it is still fine as they all work. So this is very easy, and most likely someone in your team will do this, or you ask them to do it. Mollying barrels keeps your team alive more or less to this position, allowing you a good chance to fight for top banana control. Usually someone in your team will now proceed to smoke the connector. Even if they do a whiffy throw like this, it works most of the time. However, I don't like to be visible when I throw my utilities. So my lineup that I use is to retreat to this curb over here, just below the wall, and I stand on the left part of this T-shaped crack. And then I aim to the top left of the smoke column to smoke off connector. This lands very nicely and even smokes off the front corner as well. So if nobody else in your team is using any utilities, you need to ask someone to do it or teach someone. Otherwise you will not be able to use any of the following evolutions. Evolution 1. Okay, so what I mean with Evolution 1 is that we are working on the premises that someone else in your team is at least going to smoke off the connector going to CT, which means you will still be the one to molly barrels, but you will be left with a smoke, which you are going to use to smoke coffins. So what you are going to do is still molly barrels, and then when the other teammate throws his smoke to connector, you throw yours to coffins. An easy lineup for this is to simply reverse into the stack of logs, then follow up this pole to where it intersects the top of that pole. If you draw an imaginary line like this to make a right angle. And left click throw. As you will see, when the smoke blooms, this will smoke off the whole coffins area pretty nicely. So if someone else smokes connector and you smoke off the coffins, this makes it a lot easier for your team to make it further on to bombsite B before the trading begins. Now for Evolution 1 inverted, or 1 minus, whatever. What I mean is that in this scenario someone else is going to molly barrels, but no one is smoking connector, which leaves you with the job to smoke connector, but it will leave you with one molly that you can use on coffins for the benefit of the team. To molly coffins is also pretty easy. You simply jump onto these barrels, walk on the board till you are in line with this roof beam. You simply aim at the point just below this part of the roof tile that goes down diagonally and left click throw. And as you will see, this will molly off the coffin's position very nicely. Yeah, let's not lose that health again. So just to recap, the first part of Evolution 1 is where you will molly barrels. Someone else will smoke CT, leaving you to smoke off coffins by coming to stand on these logs and aiming at the spot where the two poles intersect. And the second part of the evolution is where someone else is mollying barrels, but no one else is smoking the basic connector going to CT, leaving you to smoke off connector from the position I showed earlier, standing on this T and aiming at the top left of the smoke column. And then in Evolution 1, the second part, you will need to jump onto the barrels, ask your team to wait for your molly before pushing out, and then you molly coffins. Evolution 2, or what I really wanted to show you. This is how you can use your utilities as a solo player to the maximum benefit of your team. This is working off the prerequisite that at least someone else in your team is going to molly barrels and smoke off the connector going to CT. Even if they whiff it from here, that's fine. That means that by the time you reach this spot, you will still have a smoke and a molly to use. So let me explain to you the big problem with bombsite B and its layout. Bombsite B has a box-shaped layout, which means you have angles from everywhere around you, all the way around, even angles from the back, and that is why it's important that someone smokes connector. But all the angles, they form a box around you. Now, the ideal way for you to help out your team, as you do not know how good they are at pre-aiming or clearing angles, is to basically cancel out all these angles. Basically everything from this pillar to the right, which means that once you enter the bomb site, it will no longer be a box shape, but only an L shape that you have to clear, which is a lot easier to do from one point to the end point. So, to do that, you simply use the smoke to the coffins that I showed you earlier. But let me just do another recap. You simply reverse into these logs, aim at where this pole intersects the top of the other pole, and left. Let's just make certain about that lineup. Yeah, that smoked it off very nicely. So what you will do after clearing the top banana is, as your teammate throws his smoke to connector, you will smoke off coffins and ask your team to wait for your molly before pushing out. So for your molly, you jump onto these bags. You then aim at where those leaves make a little imaginary triangle and do a walking throw. As you will see, this will burn out the person hiding in the dark as well as clear the person sitting behind a pillar. Let me just throw that molly again to prove it to you. So you see dark gets burned out as well as the guy sitting this angle. Meaning that this is the first angle that you need to start worrying about. So let me show you the routine for using the utilities for the maximum benefit of your unknown teammates in solo queue. So someone else will molly barrels. You help to clear top banana. As you see that teammate lining up for his smoke, you go to the logs and smoke off coffins. Tell your team to please just wait for your molly before pushing. Jump onto these bags, aim up there and shift walk throw. As you come around, just be wary of the guy sometimes boosted on top, but then you only have to worry about the L-shaped angles. So it is a good idea just to pre-aim that angle and double check the angle up top. Then you come around here, plant the bomb and take the advantage, as the CTs now have to come to you. A popular approach is to take archers to B. This is a good approach as a lot of times you will be hitting the CT side of fence offside. However, it is difficult in this situation to use the utilities to the maximum team benefit, as you would a lot of times be better off keeping your utilities to hold off this incoming CT retake. So, however, I am going to cover some angles for utilities from this side when I discuss the CT retake of bombsite B from archers a bit later in the video, if you would like to get some lineup ideas. As explained in earlier videos, you can't really use your utilities for maximum team benefit as a CT, as your team will in the vast majority of times be split up over the map. So you will maybe be 2 guys on B and 3 on A, or you will be retaking B with maybe 1 or 2 teammates. But as a general rule, you will never be a full 5-man team. That being said, the best way for you to use your utility as a CT is to delay the terrorist charge, as this will give the rest of your team time to get information on other parts of the map and rotate to you if you saw bomb, thereby evening out the odds. So the first easy way to delay the terrorist charge is to come up to this corner. Aim at the bricks on the corner walls, those ones over there, and left click throw. As you can see, it blocks off the approach nicely. Also, from the same angle you can use a smoke to delay the charge, where you stand on the same corner, aim at where the shadow of the roof make this little bulge and left click throw. What I like about this smoke is that it smokes off the top of the wall boost spot as well. So another smoke that I like to use is when you do a peek for information over here, or do a little jump peek for information. If you see the bomb coming your way, you simply retreat, and as you round this corner you do a right click throw blocking off the approach. From here you can fall back to the connector position or onto site. If you fell back to the CT angle, it is easy to do a nade or molly throw to where the terrorists gather behind the smoke, just by bouncing it high off that wall. Or when the smoke starts clearing, do a shallow throw to delay the charge for a while longer. Using the smoke and molly in this combination is also especially useful if they smoked off the connector to CT, as they need to wait for your utilities, thereby wasting the time on their own utility that they used. Another way I like to play this angle is when you do the information peek and see the bomb, you do the reverse right click smoke and then jump up on this angle. You take a shot at the first guy who pushes the smoke or spam the smoke. Then jump off, aim at the bottom of this tube and left click throw. And this is a nice molly to catch your opponents off guard and delay them an extra couple of seconds, which will allow you to rotate out from behind the orange container, which is something that you usually don't have time for if you drop down from the top angle when the terrorists are rushing. That's about it for using utilities to delay the charge on banana defense. If however you have information that push is coming from archer's side, I would not advise throwing the smoke here, as all it does is allow the terrorists to gather and even maybe do a nice split setup where they come from construction as well as through connector. Rather throw the smoke a bit deeper by standing on the stairs and aiming where the shadow bulges out. This allows you and a teammate to set up a nice crossfire on the angle of approach. When you are doing the retake from banana, I usually just use the same utilities that I use as a terrorist in Evolution 2, by smoking off and mollying the side of the site. Just remember to be careful, as a lot of terrorists like to hide in construction and they may come from behind, so keep that in mind. If you were playing A and you need to retake B through arches, something I see some players do is run and bounce the smoke of this wall section, smoking off here. What I don't like about this, it either forces you to stop when you get here, or more likely force you to go through construction. And the terrorists, because they see that smoke, will be waiting for you. The smoke that I prefer is to find the middle plank on this well, so 4 from each side. Stand against this white line, aim at the wooden slat on the roof and aim just above the roof. And left click throw. This will bounce off the base of the fountain and smoke off stairs. What I like about this is that it blocks off most of the angles looking into CT, and it also allows you as a CT to either push connector onto site or to go through construction. As for molly usage, it depends on the information that I have. If there is information there is a terrorist in banana, I would simply bounce the molly off the wall to delay that guy reinforcing his team. Another alternative that I like to use is to delay the guy sitting construction, as this is a popular spot for terrorists to sit. If however I have no information when doing the retake, I will just do the smoke from the well.
Time for a recap.
So you do the smoke from the well by standing at this lineup, aiming just above the middle of that roof slab, and then once the smoke blooms to just do a running throw into the back left corner, as this is a very high percentage angle to molly off. This is a very popular angle because you can isolate the approaches when you sit in the spot. That's it for the video on bombsite B of Inferno. I really hope this helps you out, especially all you solo players out there, because sometimes you really just need to help out your team as you get a bad draw. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you would like to keep up to date with the series, as we will be going over all the maps in this type of detail. Till next time, go throw them nades.